I'm Helana Alexander, and I'm going to be performing my piece, Avengers Assemble. Snow Day. I love Marvel movies, and over the past couple of months I've been watching a lot of them, the best being Captain America. My favorite character from Captain America is surprisingly not the hunky Steve Rogers, but his kick-butt love interest, Peggy Carter. Although she's painted as the damsel in this story, she breaks that stereotype many times, saving herself and Captain America in the process. So imagine my excitement when I found out that Peggy Carter is actually based off of all the amazing British women of the Special Operations Executive, or SOE, a beneficial and progressive spy organization from World War II. So first, let's meet the scrawny Steve Rogers before his superhero days and talk about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained. Next, we will see Captain America in action for the first time and talk about how the SOE impacted the role of women in war. Finally, we will see Captain America reign victorious and talk about how the SOE has impacted war, technology, and culture today as the SOE Avengers assemble. So first, let's meet the scrawny Steve Rogers before his superhero days and talk about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained. Let's set the scene. It's the beginning of the war against Hitler, 1940, and Britain has just signed an armistice with France to fight against Germany. Winston Churchill has the idea to set Europe ablaze and has planned to do this, supporting the UK's resistance movements through the formation of Churchill's Secret Army, or as it would later be known as the Special Operations Executive, or SOE. This spy organization's goal was to shield Britain throughout World War II through the use of irregular warfare tactics, such as sabotage, small arms, radio and telegraph communication, and unarmed combat, according to the article Female Spies of the SOE from historicuk.com. Another very important mission of the SOE was for agents to perfect their cover stories so that they could blend into enemy societies. According to the article Espionage in the SOE from historicuk.com, many agents lived a double life, using their established positions in adopted countries to perform illegal and dangerous activities under the nose of the enemy. But all of this espionage took training. The training that SOE agents were given was harsh and grueling, but also very secretive. Like Bucky Barnes is actually the Winter Soldier kind of secretive, or Captain America was actually President Ives for 70 years kind of secretive. The training that the SOE agents were given was divided into 3 parts. The first part was preliminary school, where agents were given little to no knowledge about what the SOE was and were judged based only on their character and potential of becoming an agent. If an agent did not pass preliminary school, they would be sent to a cooler and be asked to forget the little to no information they knew about the SOE. If they did pass this round of training, however, they would be moved to paramilitary schools across secret locations in Scotland, where the terrain was roughed and the field work actually began. This training lasted 3 to 4 weeks, where agents were given training in demolition, map reading, compass work, radio and telegraph communication, and fieldcraft, according to the article Training SOE Saboteurs in World War II from the BBC. If they did not opt out or get kicked out of SOE training at this point, they would be moved on to finishing school, where they would learn one of the most tactical skills of the SOE, how to parachute, a tactical skill that would be used to deploy them into all of their missions. Finally, agents would be given a final briefing and be headed into the field with their team. So now we'll see Captain America in action for the first time and talk about how the SOE changed the role of women in war. Again, one of the most important roles of the SOE was for agents to blend into enemy societies. And to do this, the most important task was to employ women because they were seen less of a threat to the enemy because of the status of women in society at the time. But the women of the SOE played a huge role in the success of the SOE as a whole, just as Peggy Carter impacted S.H.I.E.L.D. way more than Captain America ever did. Examples of this are seen through agents such as Noor Inayat Khan and Christine Granville of the spy organization. Christine Granville did many impactful things for the SOE. Among her work identifying German troop emplacements and meeting with Polish underground leaders, she also saved her section chief, Francis Kammertz, hours before the rest of her group was murdered. One of her most famous quotes about her work at the SOE is, "Maybe you should find out I saved people from prisons and camps in Germany. I should love to do it, and I'd love to jump out of the plane even every day." According to the novel The Spy Who Loved, The Secrets and Life of Christine Granville by Claire Mully. Another very impactful agent of the SOE was Noor Inayat Khan. Although an unlikely agent because she was a reputably bad liar, she remained at large for months, the only active radio operator in the Paris area. According to the article Special Agents, Women of the SOE from the Paris Review, to avoid the fate of her friends, she would move safe houses almost every day, carrying her 60-pound wireless suitcase radio with her everywhere she went to avoid capture for nearly 3 years. Women like these would go on to fight for rights for women to fight in the militaries all across the world. Finally, we will see Captain America reign victorious and talk about how the SOE has impacted war, technology, and culture today. So first, let's talk about some technology that was influenced and created by the SOE. One of the most important goals of the SOE was to teach radio and telegraph communication to communicate with occupied territories. To do this, the MK2 suitcase radio was created. The MK2 suitcase radio was created in 1942 by John Brown at SOE and distributed by the Radio Communications Department of the SOE. According to the article Type 3 MK2 Suitcase Radio from CryptoMuseum.com, another very important piece of technology for the SOE was the gas gun, which was disguised as a fountain pen that shot a bullet and later tear gas to help agents get out of sticky situations. Finally, we'll see how the SOE has impacted the media through characters, comics, books, and movies. As we've seen throughout this speech, one of my favorite characters to be influenced by the SOE is Agent Carter. As seen in some early comics of Captain America, she worked for the SOE as a beginner codes translator after her brother died in the war. This would later lead her to become a founding member of S.H.I.E.L.D., a fictional spy organization inspired by the SOE and other spy organizations in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Universes. Another very influential piece of media to come out of the SOE is 007 himself, James Bond. The original James Bond novels were created by Ian Fleming, who was a former SOE spy. His experience in war and spy technology later led him to create his captivating novels, which would become one of the longest movie franchises in the world, with devoted fans across the world. So, we have seen Steve Rogers before his superhero days and talked about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained. We have seen Captain America in action for the first time and see how the SOE impacted the role of women in war. Finally, we've seen Captain America reign victorious, or seemingly so, as we have seen what the SOE impacted in the media and technology. So the next time you sit down to enjoy a Marvel movie, maybe you'll think of the amazing SOE heroes of World War II as the SOE Avengers assembled.